I didn't get to the point where I'm supposed to be yet, but my thread is almost finished, so I'm going to show you how to add a new thread and how to get rid of this old one. Now, the way I'm going to show you, it's the way I do with any beading project. Well, the only difference that's going to be between the projects I do is the number of knots I'm going to make. In this one, the stitch is quite bouncy, so when you are done with your project, this stitch is in constant movement, so your threads inside are always moving. So you don't want to make only one knot, because one knot, you know, it can come apart and then the whole thing will come apart, and considering how much time you spent on it, you don't want that. So depending on how tight my work is, if I'm doing a period stitch, I usually do one knot and then hide the ends. But in this one, I'm gonna make 3 knots. So the way I show you, I do with any other project. Depending what project, it will be different number of knots. So it's usually either 1 or it's either 3. Now in this one, I'm gonna take my needle. You can take a second needle. I just don't like using several needles at the time, because you know, I might just lose one and then I'll never find it. So whenever I do a project, I just use one. So I'm gonna thread into it, and take another maybe 2 yards. I'll take a bit more because it's not gonna be on the camera, so I can concentrate on my thread. I cut it and then straighten it a bit. Wait, I need to find my needle. Okay, I have my needle. So see how curly it is a bit? So I'm just gonna, you know, pull it and then see it already kind of straight. And when you are working with it, you know, after a couple stitches, it will kind of straighten up. And now I removed my needle, so I don't have to worry about, you know, the needle there. Now I finished one unit. I came out in one side. Now I'm gonna sew in this thread and bring it out of the same point, so I can continue from where I stopped off. And to do that, I'm gonna start off somewhere, like for example, it should be here. I'm gonna start off somewhere here. I'm gonna take my needle through. I don't have to leave a long tail because that's just the tail to cut. I just leave that so I can hold it in place with my other fingers while I'm doing a knot. I'm gonna go, see where I came out? I'll go through the neighbor bead. I think I already have one knot on my, that's fine. So I took my, okay, I almost lost it. Look, see the tail, I'm holding it. I went through 2 beads. I'm gonna zoom in now to show you a bit. So I'm coming out of here. I'm just gonna pick up one of the existing threads. Take my needle through and leave a small loop, and then take my needle through it. So now I have my first loop. It's not ready, it's not enough for me, so I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna take it through the neighbor bead. Take it up. And make another loop. I'm just gonna take my needle through the existing thread there. See what happens with long threads. I have one knot already here, so I will untangle that and then we'll continue. So I tangled it. It took me a while to loosen the knot so I could take the tangled up knots through it. So leave a loop, take my needle through. So we're making the second knot here. I'm just gonna pull it. Now it's pretty, you know, it's pretty tight, but I still want to make one more loop. So I'm gonna take my needle, see my thread coming out here, and then I have to end up here. So what I'm gonna do, okay, let's see where I wanna go. I will go through the neighbor bead on the side. That's the small tail we have. And then I'm gonna make one more loop. Just gonna make sure I don't have any tangles. Okay, I'm gonna make one loop here. Now you wanna make sure that's almost the end of our work, so you wanna make sure your work is pretty tight here. So I'm just gonna hold this thread. I'm gonna make one loop here. You can start way below, make your knots, and then make your way up, but it's just the way I do. Take your needle through. Now we made all our 3 knots. I can remove this tail of the new thread now. I don't need it anymore. And then I'm gonna make my way to where I'm supposed to be. See this thread here? I have to take my needle all the way there. So I'm here, I'm gonna go up. You know what, I'm gonna go here and then, no, that's the way I came out. I'm gonna go up. And then I'm gonna go through the last 2 beads. Now you can see both threads are coming out of the same bead. Now I'm gonna remove my needle. You can use another needle, but as I said, I don't like working with 2 needles at a time because I have tendency of losing them and it might end up hurting someone. So that's the new thread, the long one, and the short one, we're gonna get rid of it now. I'm gonna thread my needle back to the first thread. Okay, got it. See how short it is. I'm gonna make 3 loops again and then cut off the ends. Just don't want to tangle up with the existing one now. So I'm gonna zoom in again. That's where I came out. I'm gonna go through the neighbor bead. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go through neighbor bead and then I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna make my first loop here. I'm gonna go through. Okay, don't wanna get out that way. Go through the neighbor bead. Go down. And then go through another bead there. Well, it's quite hard to take 2 beads at a time because it's quite tight down here already because we've been tying up. And then take 1 more bead here. Then I'm gonna tie my second knot. Okay. Just have to pick up any existing thread. Oops. Okay, that went all the way through. I didn't leave a loop. Okay, I'm just gonna skip 1 bead. And then here I'm gonna make my second loop. Make sure to leave a small loop. Take my needle through. That's the second loop I made, so I'm gonna continue downwards. And then here I'm just gonna make my last loop. And that's it. I'm just gonna take my needle through a couple more beads. Remove my needle. See, and that's the tail we saw, and then just remove that. And now I don't have any tails that are on the way. I just have my new long thread, and then I'm just gonna put my thread it through my needle. Okay, done. And continue as I was. I just pick up 3 units and make my first wall. And and then continue the way you were all the way until you have your required length.